Just plain bad is how Donald Trump described it when he was tweeting last night. He joins us right now. Mr. Trump, you also said that the Oscars last night, a sad joke and insult to the past.
Well, there was no glamour, there was no beauty to me, and maybe I remember the past differently, but I thought it was terrible. I thought the set looked ridiculous. It was obviously they spent a lot of money with the wheels and the gears and all of the different things. I just thought it wasn't good. I thought there was a tremendous lack of glamour. I thought a lot of the winning performances and a lot of the winners were surprise winners. People were shocked by the whole situation. And,
sure.
You know, there was a lot of conservative hatred there. There's no question about that. I haven't seen any conservatives get up lately and start ranting and raving.
Yeah,
so, sort of an interesting evening. But I thought it was just not a good-looking program, and I thought the set looked horrible.
Well, it's interesting, Mr. Trump, because, you know, American Sniper snubbed in 2 categories for film and best actor there. Meanwhile, more Americans went to go see it in its category than ever before. So those voices not heard there at the Oscars. But when you mentioned political take on the stage, my goodness, there were many a moment where the lefties went full throttle in terms of their voice. Watch.
Tonight we honor Hollywood's best and brightest.
To every woman who gave birth, to every taxpayer and citizen of this nation, it's our time to have wage equality once and for all.
The subject of Citizen 4, Edward Snowden, could not be here tonight for some treason. Who gave this son of his green card? Birdman.
Maybe next year the government will inflict some immigration rules to the academy. 2 Mexicans in a row, that's suspicious, I guess.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, it was a great night for Mexico, as usual. You know, this country, the whole thing is ridiculous. But it was a great night and very unexpected, a great night for Mexico. This guy kept getting up and up and up. I said, you know, what's he doing? He's walking away with all the gold. And was it that good? I don't hear that. But it was certainly a big night for them.
I think it's almost a hex. If you make a lot of money at the box office, somehow I think the movie insiders feel as though, well, there must be something wrong if it's commercial.
Well, that's been so, although not always. This was just, I never felt it was going to do very well because, you know, you see the bent, you see the inclination. So I don't know about you folks, but I never felt it was going to do well from that standpoint. I mean, you see the political speeches. They're not exactly on the Republican or the conservative side.
That's a good point. Speaking of awards, we understand you got an award down at the Citadel over this weekend with Tim Scott. Congratulations to you on that.
I did. It was great. What a great place the Citadel is, too. You just can't speak more highly of a place. The young cadets are fantastic people and fantastic leadership there, and just a beautiful place. So it was an honor. That was last night with Tim Scott, and it was just a great honor.
And speaking of awards, Rudy Giuliani probably got the award for the most mentions in the mainstream media over the weekend after what he said initially at a private dinner where he questioned the president's love for America. He didn't back down. He kind of doubled down. He wrote an op-ed that appears in this morning's Wall Street Journal.
That's right. He said this: I didn't intend to question the President Obama's motives or the content of his heart. My intended focus really was the effect his words and his actions have on the morale of this country and how that effect may damage his performance. I hope and pray that President Obama can rise to the occasion and underscore America's greatness as our history and values merit. If he does so, I will be the first to applaud him, he said. Your thoughts?
Well, I've seen it. I read it this morning, and, you know, that was his explanation. I was surprised at how so many of the Republican candidates just immediately, you know, backed down and headed south. There was, you know, nothing going on there. They just really backed down quickly. But I think the definition, and, you know, I've heard a lot of different views on what Rudy said, and some agree with him, and some like it, and some don't. But certainly most of the Republican candidates seem to have backed down very strongly.
But, I mean, this firestorm reminds me of when they went after you a few years ago, and it was right around the Washington Correspondents' Center. You became the #1 story in America, and over some comments you made, and it's the same thing that happened with Rudy over the last few days.
Well, nobody apologized to me, to the best of my knowledge. I have not received that apology yet. I don't expect to either, but, you know, we're all big boys. I mean, you'll see what happens, but Rudy made a statement. He clarified the statement. And, you know, I think everybody should leave it at that. Lots of bad things are said about everyone else. and it is called a rough and tumble business politics.
So let's talk about your meeting with Scott Walker. You had a chance to meet with him, and Scott Walker was even asked about the whole firestorm with Rudy. And here's his quote. He says, when asked about if President Obama is a Christian, he said, I don't know. I've actually never talked about it, or I haven't read anything about it. I've never asked him that. You've asked me to make statements about people that I have not had a conversation with them about. How could I say if I know if he's a Christian or not? People say that wasn't a politically astute answer. What does Donald Trump think?
Well, I think it's ridiculous that they say that. He hasn't spoken to Rudy about it. Scott asked to come up and meet with me. He was up in my office last week, and we had a great conversation. And you know, why would he be in a position to talk about what's in Rudy's mind? And it's really not even a fair question to ask him.
Sure.
So he said he didn't know, he didn't discuss it with Rudy, and you know, they should leave it at that. And he got criticized for that, which is rather amazing.
Does Walker have your vote?
No, I don't know who has my vote, but he's a very nice guy. We had a great conversation, ranged on lots of different topics. We were together for quite a while.
Right.
And he's doing well. And he is. You know, look, I've backed him in the past. He sent me a plaque for backing him. I've backed him. I've helped him financially in the past. And we'll see how it all goes. But we'll be making a decision, and we'll be discussing this for a long time to come, I suspect.
Indeed. And every Monday, Donald Trump shows up on the show. Donald, thank you very much. Have a good week.
Thank you very much.
Trump, and congratulations.
Have a good day.
Have a great week.